Cyberpunk 2077 will include character customization, and that just raises the question of what is the actual point in it? Because you can create your character, but because Cyberpunk is only first person and you don't have a third person camera option, you're never going to actually see it. So this is what we're going to be answering in this video. Before I do get into the video, if you do want to see me streaming Cyberpunk when it does go live, then there is a link in the description down below which will take you over to the Twitch channel. Head over to there, drop a follow, and you'll be notified the second I go live with Cyberpunk. Right now I am currently streaming Red Dead Redemption. That is by far my favorite game, and as I've already mentioned in many other videos, as soon as Cyberpunk drops, we are going to be completely ditching Red Dead until we get Cyberpunk done. Might even play through it a couple times, trying to see what endings we can get and trying out all the different life paths. So link to that is in the description down below. So, character customization. This is something that we've talked about before on the channel. I have already done a video breaking down every single way that you can customize your character. A link to that is also found in the description down below. But as a quick overview, you can change a lot, going from gender, body shape, eyes, ears, mouth, nose, hair color, tattoos, piercings, being able to add surface wiring to your character. You get to choose the life path between Nomad, Street Kid, and Corp, and you can even change your genitalia. It is entirely up to you, but you don't really get to see any of this because you are using a first person camera in game. And some fans are angry with the customization because of this reason. What is the point of creating a character? Because I know the second that this game drops and you go into that character customization menu, you want to spend as long as possible, making sure every little detail is correct for V. And then you're never going to see V again because you're looking through the eyes of V. You don't see what V looks like, and that has made players say that maybe they should completely scrap character customization or they should add a third person camera. And unfortunately, both of these are not good suggestions. Cyberpunk 2077 has been built to be a first person game. There is a third person option if you're driving a vehicle, but not when you're playing as V. And it makes sense for this to stay this way. Projekt Red themselves has said that first person is more immersive experience to the player. And this is because of the way that they've built their systems. The dialogue system in Cyberpunk 2077 is dependent on first person. Throughout the story, you would look at NPCs, objects, weapons, cyberware, different things within the game, and you'll make comments on them. You will not get that experience if you're playing it in third person, because you can't actually pinpoint what the character's looking at, and that would actually have to involve you going into a cinematic just to show what they're on about, and this will take away from the gameplay. You'll have situations where you're talking to someone and then all of a sudden another character will interrupt the conversation, and you have at this point, and this is where they involve gameplay in all of this, you have the option to turn and look at that character that interrupted everything or just completely ignore them. This would also open up different dialogue systems. This would be so much hard to do in third person, especially when you find out that Projekt Red built a new internal scene system from scratch, and it was built for first person. It has been optimized for a first person viewpoint, and this engine has been in development since 2015, so it'll be hard for this just to change now, when everything up until this point has been there for a first person view. Simply putting it, third person does not fit Cyberpunk 2077. It would take away from the experience. That's not me saying that third person is bad, and that's not me saying that first person is bad. It's me simply putting it that some games suit third person, some games suit first person, and Cyberpunk fits in the first person category. So now that we know that the camera simply cannot change, it raises the question of maybe they should get rid of character customization, because there's no point in that if you can't see it. And character customization is still a vital part to Cyberpunk, because this creates empathy. Now, I am someone that used to be a game designer. Wasn't the very best of the best of the best, but I understand some of the design principles and why game companies do certain things. Character customization allows the player to immediately feel empathy for the character before even starting the game, and empathy is extremely important within game design. If you do not feel empathy for the character, you don't care what happens to the character. If you don't care what happens to the character, you won't ever be immersed in the game. If you're not immersed in the game, you're never going to play the game again. It's as simple as that. Character customization allows you to create the character you want, a character based off you or a character even based off what you have in your mind. This is instant empathy, and that's why many players spend hours in character customization. They care for what they're making. If worst case scenario, you do not feel empathy for V during character customization, then guess what? This is where you have the option of the life paths, and this would also build on that empathy, no matter which one you choose. If you pick Street Kid, you start off having the hard life. You're tasked with going to steal a car. When you steal the car, Jackie then opens the door, pulls a gun on you. There's a back and forth between both of you. That's when the police show up, arrest you both. The police were just going to arrest you until the owner of the car comes down to the garage and tells the police officer, instead of arresting you and Jackie, that they might as well just kill you both, take you to the docks and drown you. This is a bad situation for V, and it ends up providing empathy. Another option is you're being put under pressure by your boss and you have to kill the competition. That is your task. V then goes to the underworld of Cyberpunk to find the right people to do the job, and as V's doing that, gets caught by Arasaka. This results in V losing their job, losing all their titles, losing their advanced cyberware, and being of the bottom of the bottom. This is the lowest V has ever been, and V got fired for doing a task that the company set him out to do. This is the corporate life path, and it instantly creates empathy. Or finally, you have Nomad, which is V turning their back on the clan in the Badlands to head towards Night City, and no matter where V goes, they just encounter problems after problems. Either the car breaking down, being harassed by a sheriff, or being chased across the border. No matter which way you look at it, every single one of these life paths is something bad happening to V. And because that bad thing happens, whether it be a result of V's own doing or something completely different, it ends up creating empathy. You care for V because you think V doesn't belong in that situation. Character customization actually adds to this. Imagine it. You've spent hours upon hours customizing your character. You've pretty much created a masterpiece. You love the way that V looks. And unfortunately, V goes through an extremely rough time. No matter which life path that you pick, you instantly care, you're instantly immersed, and you're now going to carry on playing the game. If you didn't care, you wouldn't play. And this is why Cyberpunk is the way that it is. This is why it has a character customization, and this is why it is first person. It's not just about looking at your character 24/7. There's other design principles at play here. For those that do want to see their character throughout the game, you can still see V. You can see the character whenever you want. As this is an RPG, you can go into the menus and you can change out weapons, equipment, cyberware, items of clothing, because they all have better stats. And every single time that you open up the menu, you will see V there on the screen. The V that you customized. You can also see V in reflections. There's a number of mirrors around the world of Cyberpunk. You will see V in that reflection. I think you'll probably see V a lot more often than you think. And I also believe that that's still probably too much, because I don't think you actually want to see your character 24/7 every single time that you play. There's going to be other stuff that you look at. If you take a third person game, for example, I guarantee you don't analyze every little movement that character does. Yes, you will see the character. It is the main thing within the scene, but you're also looking at the surroundings. You'll be looking at the UI to see how much health you have, maybe to see how much shield you have, maybe look to see where the closest enemies are. Maybe you're also looking for cover depending what the game is. There's so many other things going on, so you can't physically look at your character every single second, and you don't actually need to. And this goes on to what I was saying earlier, some games suit third person, some games suit first person. Cyberpunk fits in the first person. And for the arguments that are made about having it third person and being able to see the character that you customize, there is still ways around it within a first person view. But anyway, these are the reason that character customization is in the game. This is why it can't have third person. It all comes down to the immersion. And this is what CD Projekt Red have said many times in different interviews. It is about building an immersive narrative, and everything that they do for Cyberpunk 2077 links into this concept. But anyway, that is everything to do with character customization within Cyberpunk. If you do want to talk more in depth about Cyberpunk, then there is a link in the description down below which will take you over to the Twitch channel. I stream every Monday, Wednesday and Friday. And as said at the beginning, I predominantly play Red Dead Redemption, but I'm always talking about Cyberpunk, and we will be ditching Red Dead as soon as Cyberpunk comes out. Links to that can be found in the description down below. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did enjoy, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. But for now, I'm going. So see ya.